Hi guys, this is Sandra. Welcome back to my channel. And I am doing a bullet journal essential list today. So now when I say bullet journal essential, I have some opinions about that. And I guess where I was before, and this is like I guess prior to even making this video. So I have posted 2 bullet journal videos already on my channel. So I've got my March plan with me and also my April plan with me. And you'll notice that my bullet journal is full of artwork. I have very particular spreads. I like to track certain things. And before I get into what I would like to say, I'm just going to go through the essentials that I think are going to kind of knock it down to basics and just have the essentials. So literally not really doing much of anything to do with art, but what you need to start bullet journaling. And then I will say an important thing at the end of this video. And even before we get into the supplies itself, so a lot of people, when I talk to them about bullet journaling, someone will come up to me, make a comment on my makeup, and I'll tell them about my YouTube channel. And then I'll tell them I also have bullet journaling on my channel. And they'll say, "What's bullet journaling? I've never heard of that before." And so basically, it's a system devised by Ryder. So it's Rydercarroll. And I do have his book, and I will show it to you in a moment. But it's a system devised by Ryder, and his system is very basic, and he basically says in his book that you can change it up to however it fits your needs. So whether you're changing the basic system to have different, like a different bullet system, changing up what kinds of things you want to track, and he calls different things like that collections. So we're just going to focus on the basics. So let's get into that first, and then we'll do a little bit of talking after the video. So the first thing you're going to need is a notebook. I have got 3 different notebooks in front of me to show you, and it doesn't matter what the outside looks like at all, and it doesn't really matter like if you're using a pen and a notebook, even the paper quality doesn't really make that much of a difference. So this first notebook, it's just by Indigo paper. I purchased it from my local bookstore, Indigo, and like I bought this maybe 5 years ago, and it's just a regular lined notebook. So you can use a lined notebook for bullet journaling. It's basically a system that you make an agenda, and it's not even an agenda. I would highly recommend to read Ryder Carroll's book. It's called The Bullet Journal Method. Track the past, order the present, and design the future. So it's kind of a way to journal in point form, if that makes any sense. But to me, before I even read his book, I kind of took it to be just that it was design your own agenda. And from looking at videos on YouTube and online, specifically Amanda Rach Lee, she's from Ontario, so I love watching her because she is from Canada, and I find a lot of the YouTube channels that come on my channel are all from the States. So I want to support local if I can, and especially someone as popular as she is. She's got over 1 million subscribers already, so shout out to you, Amanda. And when I first started watching her, I kind of thought bullet journaling was like a form of art. I thought it was basically, you have to make a design and then you can put a weekly planning system in there. And I started reading Ryder's book, and it really brought me down to basics. So that's why I want to show this lined notebook, because people think, oh, well, you're going to need a whole bunch of expensive supplies, and that is not true. I'm going to show you different supplies that do have different price points. I know I haven't done any swatches of pens really, but we'll get to that in a moment. So this is just a lined notebook, and very simple. You can pick it up anywhere. It doesn't even have to be from Indigo. You can go to your local like arts and crafts store, like Michael's if you have one, or you can go to Staples or even like Walmart and just pick up a notebook and anything will work. So this is just like a hardcover and bound, and it's got 2 bookmarks, so kind of convenient, but you don't necessarily have to have that. And the other 2 notebooks are dot grid journals, and these are my preference. The first one is a Leuchtturm 1917, and these have become very popular in Indigo and chapters, so you will find them very easy to find. So it does have an index, like a pre-made index, and then it has all numbered pages, and it's got this dot grid design, which is easy to make lines. You can kind of connect the dots. So I find that these are really, really convenient. And they also have a pocket in the back, and they have like an elastic closure and 2 bookmarks as well. So these are nice, but I do find the paper is pretty thin. It's almost got a little bit of a yellow cast to it, so if you don't love that, then I wouldn't recommend this journal. But the pages are pretty thin, but the good thing about them is that they are steadfast, so when you write on them, it's supposed to prevent your ink, any ink really, from smearing on the page. So that's kind of helpful. But there is ghosting on the other page, and ghosting just means, you know how if you write on a page of, or a piece of paper with like a really heavy duty marker, like say a Sharpie, bleeding on the back will actually bleed through the page, and it can affect the pages underneath. But ghosting is just when you turn the page and you can really see like the shadow from the previous page. That's all that is. So I find the Leuchtturm ghosting is pretty heavy. The next journal that I currently have, and I'm currently finishing up, and I've started in a Leuchtturm journal just to kind of see the difference. This is the Scribbles That Matter. This is my favorite journal so far, and this one's brand new. I haven't opened it or used it yet. It's the mint color. So it's basically got all of the same features as the Leuchtturm, but the paper is a little bit more white, and the pages are thicker. So I believe this is 100, is it MGS or MSG, or not MSG? Wow, MGS, it's just the thickness of the paper. And I love this, but there aren't as many pages as the Leuchtturm. And my current Scribbles That Matter journal, I think I only got 4 months out of it. So, but I have a lot of different collections. I've got a lot of different things I like to track, and I use a lot of extra pages. So it just kind of depends what you're using it for, whether it's for art or just plain bullet journaling, which we'll get into in a minute. So the next thing that is essential are pens. So I've got some different pens here in front of me. The first one I'll show is just your plain ballpoint pen. I have different colors, so I'm just showing a random color, but this is just the Bic Atlantis. It's one of my favorite ballpoint pens, and the ink never skips, and this is amazing. I love these pens. You can get them for pretty cheap at Walmart, and you can get them in black and dark blue ink, which is common to write with. So those are really nice. Another type of pen are the gel pens. So I'll show you 3 different kinds, and I'll leave the last one, it's my favorite. The first one are these Muji gel pens. So they're made in Japan, and they're not my favorite. I ordered them from online, and I believe this is the 0.3 in black. Yeah, it's the 0.38, and you can also get them in 0.5, and I think also 0.7, but I might be wrong. The ink doesn't flow as well because it is only 0.38, so it leaves a very fine line, but for people who like that look, those come in perfect. The next one are the Sakura Jelly Roll. I only have the Stardust ones, which are basically like the prettiest ones ever. They're just really sparkly, and they come in a variety of different colors. And then my favorite gel point pen is actually the Papermate Inkjoy Gel 0.7. And a lot of times, like sometimes I have issues with the ink where it doesn't run smoothly. And I find that with a lot of gel pens actually, I just don't love them. But this one, if you get a good one that flows really nice, the ink is very thick, and sometimes it's almost too thick for writing in your journal. So just be aware of that, and these might ghost as well. Okay, another type of pen is the Fineliner. So a lot of times in my journal that's kind of based more on art, I use Fineliners a lot. And I've actually even taken to writing in my journal with a fineliner because I enjoy it, the way it writes on the paper, more smooth than a ballpoint or a gel pen. I do have a variety of Fineliners, and I guess this kind of comes into pen swatch territory, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to quickly show you the pen and tell you where I got it from, but I'm not going to go into the color selection or anything like that. The first one is the Sharpie Art Pen. So let me just see here. I think I've got two different varieties. I do. So, and these are different. This is the Sharpie pen. I'll put those ones down for now. This is the Sharpie pen, and I believe it bleeds through because it acts just like a Sharpie. But there's also the Sharpie Art Pen, which is a black barrel, and these do not bleed through. They are a fine liner, and they are amazing. So I used to use certain fine liners, I will get to them in a minute, for taking notes in school when I was in my university degrees. And yeah, just be careful with these ones with the silver and the black on them because they do still bleed through. And the one that I used in school was the Staedtler Triplus fine liner. And they have dry safe technology, which just means they're not supposed to smear. I believe they're 0.3 size, so they're very, very small. And if you have a heavy hand, like if you write really hard, be careful with fine liners because you will ruin the tip. And this tip is tiny, so just be aware of that. And the next one, these ones I kind of found watching videos online. This is the Stabilo 0.88. You can also find some of them in Michael's, but I ordered mine from Amazon. And these are a 0.4 tip, so a little bit thicker than the Staedtler. And these are very interesting. I think they're based out of Switzerland. So I'm not used to having this pen here in Canada. I've never seen them except now currently at Michael's. The next one, you can also purchase them from Michael's, but I found mine online before Michael started carrying them, is the La Pen by Marva Uchida. These are also a fine liner, and the difference between these, there's no difference in the actual fine liner point of the, like the felt nib. It's more in the barrel of the pen. So here's the Staedtler, here's the Stabilo. So the Stabilo is probably the longest, and the Marvi Lula pen is the shortest pen. So they're so cute and they're convenient, and they're small enough to stash in your backpack or purse or bag. And you can write in your bullet journal with them, even if you wanted to write like the body of your, all of your words and stuff in that fine liner, that would work great. The last one, which I am a huge fan of, and I usually draw my spreads out in this fine liner before I actually color them in, is with my Sakura Pigma Micron. These are archival ink. This is a 0.45 millimeter, so it is the 05, and it is amazing. So they're waterproof, they're not supposed to smear, they are light fast, they will not fade in the light. And again, kind of the same, but the tip is a little bit thicker than the other two I showed you. And these are just the most amazing pen. I love them. I write with this pen in my current journal all the time, and I never have any problems with it ghosting or bleeding through. It is just amazing. You can find them from Michael's, and I think that's it. You can't even find them in Staples, but Michael's, and I would suggest to use a coupon because they are very pricey. I find the best prices on Amazon.ca, so absolutely go check out Amazon if you're interested in those. And then the other supplies aren't really pens, but I do have highlighters. So the bullet journal system is meant to use like little bullets and dashes for the actual system and little arrows to move it. In other words, migrate back or forth in the bullet journal system. But if you have, like, say you have a list of things to do or a grocery list, the easiest way to check it off, other than just put a check mark on each little like item, is to highlight. So I've got three different types of highlighters here. So this is the one that most people in Canada will recognize. It's just the Sharpie highlighter. I've had these ever since I was like in grade school, basically. This is the kind that I would find, whether it's like the really, really skinny ones or this fat barrel one, which I used to love highlighting in my textbooks back at university. And the only thing with these ones, they are fluorescent. So now you will find that Michaels is coming out with some finally, but online, again, Amazon.ca is the best source. These ones, so these are the Zebra Mild Liner. They are not, they are still a highlighter, but they are mild colored. They are not fluorescent at all. And they are so neat, and you'll find this in a lot of study, any YouTube channels that involve studying or bullet journaling. These are huge, especially on Instagram. You'll see they make really good Instagram photos. And the other one that's very similar but is a thicker end are these Stabilo Boss originals. So I have other colors, but these are the most unfluorescent of them all. So I want to say violet, but I'm going to say lavender, the pink, the green, and the teal, or the blue, I guess. And these are really nice, but these ones, you just see them all over Instagram, and they used to be hard to find. I did get mine on Amazon, and now you can get them for a lot cheaper, but you can access them at Michaels, and I did just see them at Staples, so you can find them there. And also I should mention, I will show you guys, these highlighters, mild liners, have two sides. So this is the actual highlighter side, and then this is kind of like a fine tip side, so you can make lines or even write in them if you wish to. But these are really, really nice. And they used to have 3 main color packs, but they have since added 2 more, an orange one and I think a teal one. So they are really, really cool. You should check those out if you have a chance. And then the last items are just a whiteout for making mistakes, because you know, especially if you're one of those people to scribble or cross out, this comes in handy. This is just the Bic whiteout from Staples. And a ruler. I prefer the smaller 6-inch ruler because it's easier to carry around with me, and it fits into my pen case and also right inside your journal if that's what you so choose. So those are like the basic staples of bullet journaling, of what you'd need, like the supplies to kind of get started. So I was reading, and this is kind of the important tidbit I wanted to mention. I was reading Ryder Carroll's book today, and I think I'm only on page 118, and I mean, there's 300 and some pages in the book, but it kind of got to me when I first started watching bullet journal videos on YouTube. I felt like I had to make my artistic side known. It was fun, it was cool, and it is, don't get me wrong, I won't give that up, but it brought me back to basics, because all the bullet journal system is supposed to be is literally like you have a notebook or a notepad and you make lists, or you make points of basically what the day has brought you. So say for instance, you receive a phone call and your aunt dies. You write it down in your bullet journal as like an event. And then when you go back, like you can reflect on this. So it's hard to kind of explain because he made a whole book on this. But the bullet journal system kind of comprises a journal in point form. So as I've already said in one of my videos, it was when I was showcasing my journals in my first stationery haul. I'm huge into writing. I have 1,000,001 journals, not lying. That is like serious. I said I had thousands of items of stationery products. My journals I probably have like easily 100, easily, not even written in yet, because I love collecting them, but I love writing in them, and I have maybe about 200 in my basement that I've written in. So for those of you who are judging me right now and saying, oh, why do you have so many journals? I write a lot. I finish a journal every month. I found that it really helped to channel my emotions, and it really helps me cope with life in general. I mean, when I first, like when my father passed away when I was in my 20s, my early 20s, I just journaled every day, and it helped me so much. And I just find that it does collect your thoughts. Like it allows you to center yourself. I burn a candle while I'm journaling, and it just makes me feel so much better. Journaling is not for everyone, just simple as that. Some people don't have the time to sit down and write, but I find that writing, like something, it helps me to think better, it helps me to focus better, and it's amazing. So for me, it works wonders. But um I I recommend it. I recommend people to try it, but I would never say, you have to do this. Like no one has to do anything. This is a free country. So, but if you're interested, check it out. So the bullet journal system, it kind of like takes journaling at its most short form point note, um, back to basics. So literally, like what happened to you today? So say for instance, woke up at 8. You don't have to write that down, but I mean, say got a phone call, have to run to grocery store, and then you make like a dot grid or some bullet points about what kind of things you need from the grocery store. So your grocery list. And then I just kind of like that idea. So like I guess what I'm trying to say is I was so focused on the fact that my bullet journal had to be pretty, it had to have color, it had to have art and doodles and specific collections of, my weight tracker or my habit tracker, my mood tracker. But as I've been reading his book, Ryder Carroll's book, I've kind of realized that it's more than that. It's almost tracking your life, the events, but not so much the emotional part of it. And then you can kind of go back and look at your bullet journal and you can say, okay, well, this is what I did today. This is how I felt about it. And then I personally, keeping a journal myself, would go back in my journal and write how I felt about it because that's what I like to do. But it does kind of help you if you have time to review it and look back in life. Not only can you remember things better, it helps you with memory, not even just writing stuff down, but it literally helps you remember. And it gives like a history of your life basically. So if you keep your journals and you look back eventually on this short form of notes, you look back and you hopefully won't make those mistakes, because Ryder Carroll makes a really good point. I'm just paraphrasing here, but he said that when we look back on history, a lot of what we remember is not correct. So take like a really bad incident that happened when you were younger. You might look back on it now and say, oh yeah, it wasn't that bad. Or, you might look back on a really good memory and have negative emotions about it, but why? And so your bullet journal kind of helps you remember that. And you can look back at it and say, oh wow, like I remembered it being a lot better than that. But actually, it was pretty crappy. So it just kind of hit home. And I feel like I want to get back to basics and I want to start a new journal that doesn't have any art and I'm literally just writing. And I'm forgetting about making categories and lines and stuff and just sticking with his basic method and just kind of starting from natural and starting from scratch, not from natural, but right from the beginning. And I think for someone like me that's a little extra, I like adding all the extra stuff, but I think it always helps to kind of look back and just kind of see why you're doing what you're doing. And I don't know, it's interesting. It's definitely, I'm learning as I go here reading this book, and I thought I was somebody who was um, not an expert at it, because I think you always learn as you go, but I thought I was doing really, really well, and I just kind of want to start from scratch. So I'll let you guys know how that goes though, because it's interesting. But if anyone is interested in starting up a bullet journal and kind of reading more about it, I would highly recommend this book. This is what it looks like. so by Ryder, and you can find it at Indigo in chapters, but I did find it on Amazon for a lot cheaper than Indigo. I think I only paid $20 for this book, or $15. So just look for that book on sale, and you can also download the Kindle or the I can't remember the other e-reader name, but the online e-reader book edition. Look out for that as well, because it's very, very helpful if you're interested. For those of you who just like to keep what you're doing and it works for you, that's great too. Like, this is just a suggestion. You don't even have to watch this video if you don't want to. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't know, if you journal as well, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Like, what do you write about? I kind of write about my day-to-day events, but also my emotions that go with those day-to-day events. And just the physical act of writing just kind of calms me down. And maybe having that candle burning while I'm writing and having that personal reflection time and that me time without my fiance, without my friends, without my parent, my mom, or my son, or even my dogs, because all of that is, when people are talking to you or when the TV is on, it's all kind of like background noise. It's just nice to sit in a quiet room and have a candle burning and just relax and have a little bit of me time. So I just wanted to put that out there, and if anyone has any comments, let me know. Like, do you write in a journal? What do you like to do? Have you tried bullet journaling? Let me know what you do. It's kind of interesting to find out, I think. So anyway, until next time, please subscribe to my channel if you have not already done that, and hit that bell button below to be notified every single time I post a video. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.